Hey, honors chemistry fans, we're back on day two of kind of our mole ratio understanding copper silver nitrate lab. Let me show you. What you can see then is we have let this sit overnight. You can see in there, the solution is turned blue from clear, and you can see all the little silver strands hanging off of the copper wire as it did the reaction. And what we want to do, like I did with the first one, as you can kind of see here, is I want to separate out the day two portion is to separate the silver from the copper wire and the copper nitrate solution, and then wash it down so it's just silver. You can see this, not that you can see it up close, but it's kind of a slurry of stuff. And it's just going to dry for a couple of days, and we'll get the mass in a couple of days. Anyhow, so really the first thing we want to do, the easy way to separate from the copper, I have an empty beaker here, and I've got the mass of the empty beaker so that as the silver dries, I can just mass the beaker in the silver and figure out what the silver is that we retrieve. The first thing to do is really just to kind of shake our thing. You see the silver is coming off the copper wire, just shaking it off. I'm going to get our copper wire out of here, and I'm just going to set it in a beaker and set this aside in a test tube for a minute because I want to get any fine particles of silver that might be on there. So I'm just going to rinse the wire with distilled water just to make sure that everything is off of it. Okay, nice distilled water. Then I'm going to set it aside, and I'm going to let it dry, so that when it's dry, I'll get the mass of it. I knew the mass of the copper wire before. I know the mass of the wire after the reaction, so I'll know how much copper was used in the reaction. And we can compare then the copper ratio in moles. We'll figure out how many moles were used, and then we can share and look at the copper to silver ratio and see how that works out, if it works out like I said. Then with the rest of this, I'm just going to dump it in a beaker. And again, I'm going to give the test tube a little run through, do a little rinse out here, and make sure we get all of the silver out of the test tube. And then really, it's just a series now. I'm going to swirl it around a little, kind of wash the silver particles. You can see it's a little blue, it's a little silvery, it's a little whatever. I'm going to let those settle for a second here. And then we're going to do what we call in chemistry, and do it often in chemistry, called decanting. Okay. On a test, you don't decant, decant. Decant do well, not decant. But here, and decanting is simply just pouring off the liquid. And we do it carefully over the sink. You won't be able to see this, but we do it carefully, pouring the solution over the sink. We don't want to lose our silver product. Now silver happens to have a very nice density that doesn't allow even the fine particles don't really stay suspended. It settles early. And I don't have to pour off every drop because there will be some fine particles that'll come towards the end. So I didn't do everything because there will be fine particles that come at the end, and I don't want to lose those. That gives me percent air. Then again, I'm going to hit the whole solution, all the silver with distilled water. And I'm going to do this a couple times and let it settle so that I'm really washing away any copper nitrate solution, anything that could be clinging to it, any contaminants that could give it mass that's not silver, which is again why we have to let it dry for a day or two, so that we're not getting the water mass. We want this stuff to really dry out and just be silver. And again, it takes very little time, to settle. And then I just decant. And again, it's not mission critical that I get every bit of liquid out of there. Really, I flood it with enough distilled water over the 2 or 3 washes that we're going to do, that we really do wash everything out. We still go slowly. We still leave a little in there. Hit it again. Okay. and I'm going to decant it one more time. Okay. And at the same time, as I get done decanting, the copper wire, because it's thin, should be pretty dry. I'll get the mass. And then really it's just waiting a couple of days or a day or so, day and a half probably, for the stuff to dry out. And then we'll get the final mass and we can compare kind of the copper to silver ratio. That'll do it for now. I'll decant the rest of it on my own. You don't have to sit and get bored and watch it. Have a great day.